Initially, we decided as a group to pursue the genre thriller with gangster elements reflected throughout. We arrived at this conclusion by watching a variety of movies of different genres, specifically focusing on the opening scenes. We then reached a similar verdict. We agreed that thriller genre films tend to have the most effectual opening scenes using their asserted forms and conventions to establish instantaneous interest and relevance within their audience. We then later began to research gangster-themed thrillers as well as its forms and conventions, such as Carlito's Way. This allowed us to list some ideas which we could implement into our media piece. However, we fathomed that the gangster element we were adding to the thriller had various subgenres such as classic gangster, cockney gangster, modern gangster, British gangster, and so forth. We decided as a group that we wanted to create a British gangster with a classical theme, working as a twist. Due to the financial and time-wise limitations, having chosen the thriller worked favourably for us in comparison to per se a comedy, where we lacked the comedians and professional actors as well as the financial aid. As producers of the film, we are aware that the audience comes first in terms of what they wish to see on the market. Unfortunately, due to time limitations, we are unable to get audience feedback of which subgenre is more popularly demanded by an average audience of ranged age groups, and therefore relied on the internet and its users. We found feedback in general forums regarding our queries. Had we not been restricted time-wise, we had planned to create surveys of which we would distribute to both pupils and teachers for feedback. The feedback we found laying around the internet on gangster thriller subgenres plays part in one of the most important aspects of our decision to make a British gangster with a classical twist. After having watched various different opening scenes for our research, it is clear from our final product that we have incorporated them into our opening piece. We used the title-stroke credit sequences from The Wild Bunch, the briefcase ideology from Pulp Fiction, the classical irony of violence with orchestrated music from A Clockwork Orange, and various other films as mentioned in research. During the editing process, we used hard light to darken and mystify the scene to spook the audience whilst intriguing them with fear in the first scene. On the other hand, we brightened the second scene of our piece with neutral lighting so the audience would feel as though it were an ordinary day for an ordinary man, to show and represent the contrast between the first and second scene of our piece. Conventions which would apply to our piece include death and threat. As for the narrative, that which would apply is the idea of an ordinary man in dangerous situations.